And welcome to the Hot Seat of College Football Show. I am Trent, your host, as today I kind of want to do a little bit of a fun video talking about the best Ohio State teams throughout history, where they ranked, why, their record against Michigan, if they won the national championship or not. So let's talk about it. Alright, so before we get into this video, we are currently 6 subscribers away from 270. So if you want to help support the show, and if you enjoyed today's video, please hit the subscribe button. Also, if you enjoyed today's show, please hit the like button. It means the world to me. It's free, it costs you nothing. Videos that you like, YouTube I think promotes them more on your homepage if you want to see more of my videos, and it promotes it to a bunch of new people. Videos that get interaction with comments and likes get more publication. So if you also want to go the extra mile, let me know down in the comments, what do you think is the best Ohio State team of all time? Because I have my personal opinion, but it was kind of a back and forth debate between myself and I. So kind of let me know in the comments, who do you think is the best, or what do you think is the best Ohio State team of all time? So I want to start off with a couple of honorable mentions. And I went out and I chatted with Juck a little bit from Juck on Bucks, and I sent him a message and I asked him, hey, you're a little bit older than me. You have you have some insight on kind of those Cooper teams, those awesome rosters with Eddie George, Orlando Pace. You know, what was the best one? He gave me 3. He gave me 95, 96, and 98. And 98, I think, is on the list, but it is. But 98 lost to, we'll talk about 1998 in a second. But 1996 and 1995 were 2 of those teams. Those teams had Eddie George, Orlando Pace, but both losing to Michigan kind of kept them off. So yeah, the first honorable mention were those 1995 and 96. Juck said 96 was awesome. 98 was probably the best. Both of them finished at number 2. You had the heartbreaking loss to Michigan State. That was under Nick Saban. But, I mean, with Eddie George, and you had Terry Glenn, the Blitnikoff, Orlando Pace going number 1 overall, Bobby Hoying, the quarterback, going in the 3rd round. All those teams were great under Cooper. Just is always the biggest thing was they could not beat Michigan. Is this too high? I think that's good. They couldn't beat Michigan, and that was the thing that kept them off. The second honorable mention team, and a team that would have won the national title if they were allowed to, that was 2012 Ohio State. This team, kind of like 2002, looked really bad over the entire regular season, did not play well, and had a freshman, Braxton Miller, at quarterback. And I mean, really, the 2012 team was Urban's first year. It was coming off the year of going 6-7, your first losing season. If it's the Luke Fickell year, Actually, no, this would be a sophomore Braxton Miller. True sophomore Braxton Miller. And yeah, this year was great. You had the Purdue game. You had the Urban's first Michigan win. And I mean, this team played really bad, but with the bowl ban was not allowed into the playoff, or the BCS, and they would have beat on Notre Dame. Bama was the best team that year. Even Urban said that they would have got destroyed by Bama. But, they would have probably beat that Notre Dame team. So I got them at 2012. I got 2013 Ohio State, which was a much improved version of that 2012 team. Same roster. Everyone was super young. Everyone's a little bit older. Urban's second year. And then they were 1 game away from the national title. They lost to Michigan State in the Big Ten Championship, which allowed Florida State and Auburn to face off. I think you would have been playing Florida State in the BCS instead of Auburn playing them. So, but yeah, you had the sad Urban picture. The next one is 2021 Ohio State. This team maybe had the best offense in Ohio State history. You had a young C.J. Stroud, the best wide receiver room, especially if you count Jamison Williams from that spring window, the best wide receiver core in college football history. But really, the defense was abysmal that year. It was the year before Jim Knowles, but they lost to Michigan, lost to Oregon, but just with it being the year after you lost the national title and having that insane receiver room, I got to have it in honorable mentions. Last honorable mention, a team that has not played yet, that's the 2026 Buckeyes. I think the 2026 Buckeyes could be an all-time great Ohio State team if they could win a national title this year. But they have not played, and I'm excited to see with Julian again, Jeremiah again, and I'm excited. So that brings us to our top 10. Starting off at number 10, and a team that, if I just give you their resume, should be top 3 or 4. But for when they played, if this team were to play a modern Ohio State team, they would lose by 50. That is 1968 10-0 national champion Ohio State under Woody Hayes. They beat USC in the Rose Bowl. This was an O.J. Simpson USC team. That's how long ago it was, if you know about O.J. Simpson. And yeah, I got to put at least one of Woody Hayes' teams on here. They went 10-0. They were national champions. It was 1-2 in the Rose Bowl against USC. So I got to have them on this list. But if this team were to play a modern-day Ohio State team, it would not be close. At number 9, and this list is kind of messy because a lot of it is a blend between how good were you on the field, how talented you are, and how good is your resume. And this team's resume, I'm going to be honest, is not very good. This is the past year, 2025 Ohio State Buckeyes. They were the reigning champs, started off 12-0, end up going 12-2, lose the Big Ten championship, lose to Miami 12-2. And this team, the thing that kept them on this list is just because of how talented they are. They're going to be setting an NFL record with top 10 picks, 5 probably first round picks. And your quarterback would go in the first round and your receiver would go in the first round, but they're not even eligible yet. Kenyatta was good on this team. Caden Curry was great. Sonny Styles, obviously Caleb Downs, Jermaine Matthews, Igbinosun, R.L. Reese. Caden McDonald. This team was so unbelievably stacked on defense. But, they didn't have a great end of the year last year. They were number 1 for basically the entire year, and they kind of fizzled out at the end of the year. At 8, I have a team that had a worse resume than 25, but I think looked better on paper, and really only one. They should have won They should have won undefeated, won 15-0 this year. That is the 2022 Ohio State Buckeyes. Obviously, they have the loss to Michigan and Georgia. The Michigan loss was cheating, and you should have beat Georgia. Georgia getting lucky with ref calls with Marv. Ryan actually just came out, and I'll talk about it later today on the live stream. We're going to be doing a live show later today, or maybe tomorrow, talking about, Ryan did an interview where he talked about if Marv doesn't get knocked out, they win that game, they win the national title. And this was Stroud's last year. You had Marv, you had Travion, Jackson Smith and Jigba, you had Emeka Ibuka. Really, if this team was healthy, where you have Smith and Jigba, your receiver room is Jackson Smith and Jigba, Marvin Harrison Jr., Emeka Ibuka, CJ Stroud, and Travion Henderson, that's how you win the national title. But this team was so hurt with Travion being out and Smith and Jigba being out. You had Michigan cheating. Georgia got very lucky with the ref calls with the targeting. But I got them at 8. They did go 11-2. Did not have they didn't win anything. So, I got them at 8. At 7, I have the 1998 Bucks. They won 11-1. They won the Sugar Bowl over Texas A&M. Their only loss was against Michigan State. That was under Nick Saban. They lost 28-24 at a game-sealing interception. And that was Nick Saban. You were the number 1 team in the country. You were actually number 1 the entire year. You lose, then you beat Iowa, then you beat Michigan 31-16. You're at 7th. You go up to 3. You beat number 8 A&M, and then you finish 2nd in the polls behind Tennessee, because Tennessee won the national title that year. That was actually the first year of the BCS. So you were you were 1 ranking away from going to the BCS, all because of Nick Saban ruined another one of your seasons. We all know that. Everyone knows that story. So I got them at 7. Great team. This was, I think, Cooper's one of his last years. Yeah, I think it was third to last year. At 6, I have the 2006 Buckeyes. They went 12-1. They were the Big Ten champs. Natty runner-up against Florida. This team got blown out against Florida. But they did have number 1 versus number 2 Michigan. They had the game of the century. They won that game. You had the Heisman winner in Troy Smith. And really, this is about resume. And you went to the national title. You were the number 1 team in the country. And you won the Big Ten. I guess you didn't really play in the Big Ten, but you won the Big Ten. And I definitely think that having a Heisman winner going to the national championship, beating Michigan, being the Big Ten champs, definitely earns you a spot onto this list. Now, cracking the top 5, I have a team that's resume is not great, but had an incredible roster. And honestly, you could say maybe the best roster in Ohio State history, and that is the 2015 Ohio State Buckeyes. They finished 12-1. They were the Fiesta Bowl champs over Notre Dame, reigning champs from the year before. In the first year of the 14 playoff, they lose the week before Michigan at home to a walk-off field goal to a Michigan State. Again, another you've had 3 to 4 seasons been ruined by Michigan State. And next week, you destroy Michigan. You, I think, are the 5th or 6th highest team. You play Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl. You blow them out. And, I mean, really, if this team got to the playoffs, this team wins the national championship. This team was better than Bama and Clemson and Michigan. This team was better. Michigan State lost 38-0. They were better than that team. And they were better than, who's the other? It was Bama, Clemson, Michigan State, and was it Oklahoma? Was it Oklahoma? Who was the fourth? Was it maybe it was Washington? No. 2015 playoff. Who was the 4th team? It was... Who was it? It was Oklahoma. So, yeah, great team. Zeke's last year, and Zeke playing in that bowl game obviously meant a lot. That's not something you see anymore when you play Notre Dame. But yeah, this team was drunk. This team was drunk off of everything. You had Braxton Miller back at receiver from transitioning from quarterback, which was awesome. But I got them at 5. At 4, I have the national champions 2024 Ohio State. They went 14-2. They won the national championship over Notre Dame. They beat Oregon, Texas, and Tennessee on the way to do it. They did lose to Michigan, which kept them out of the Big Ten championship. So they had 2 losses. They lost to Oregon earlier in the year, which is why they're not higher on this list. 2024, maybe the most talented roster in Ohio State history, but you lost to Michigan. I can't put you higher. It's unfortunate. It's maybe my favorite Ohio State team ever. But yeah, love that team. Jeremiah Smith, Will Howard, Travion, Quinshon. You had NFL everywhere. Literally everywhere. I mean, Arvell Reese was a backup on that team. Arvell Reese was a backup. He's about to go 2nd overall after really only playing in 6 games. He only did anything for 6 games, and he's going to be the 2nd overall pick or the 3rd overall pick, and he was a backup on that 2024 team. So, yeah, I got them at 4. At 3, I have a team that has a worse resume than 24, but is much beloved, and that's 2019 Ohio State. And really, I think I'm going to package this team with 2020 just because of how weird 2020 was. And it was basically the same team, kind of like 2014 and 2015. But yeah, 2019 and 2020, that Justin Fields 2-year squad, I got them at 3. They went to the national title the year after, revenge against Clemson. But in 2019 specifically, 13-1 Big Ten champs lost to Clemson. The next year, they were 6-1 or 5-1, or no, they were 6-0, beat Northwestern in the Big Ten championship, beat Clemson, lose to that 2020 Bama squad. And yeah, that 2019 and 2020 team were amazing, especially in 2019. I mean, you lost to Clemson, really should have won to the national title and gave LSU a run for their money. But yeah, that Justin Fields squad, that was first year Ryan Day, second year Ryan Day. And we all miss it. We all miss that version of Ryan Day that Kyle McCord killed. Kyle McCord killed that version of Ryan Day. And now cracking the top 2. And really, you could go either way. One has 1 loss. One is undefeated. At 2, and this might have the most this roster might have the most NFL success out of any Ohio State team ever. And that's 2002. Undefeated, 14-0, Big Ten champs, national champs over Miami. And actually with the NCAA was a little bit different back then. There actually wasn't a Big Ten championship, but they won. They didn't play in it, but they won the Big Ten. And you're like, okay, well, if they didn't play in a Big Ten championship and there's no 14 bracket, how are you 14-0? You play your 12 regular season games in the BCS, wouldn't you be 13-0? And if you don't actually know it, Ohio State elected to play 13 regular season games. If you didn't know that, Ohio State played 13 regular season games, and that's how they went 14-0. And obviously, this team beat the reigning champs, the greatest college team of all time, Miami. Beat them the next year. Team still had Sean Taylor, Andre Johnson, Ken Dorsey. I mean, this team, Miami team, was amazing, and they beat them in double overtime, 31-24. C. Grant making the stop, one of the most famous plays in Ohio State history. You have Holy Buckeye, which I'll be showing on the screen now. But yeah, this 14-0 champs, I just think this team played really bad in the regular season. That's just how Jim Tressel played. That's why they call it Tressel ball. We hate Ryan Day's been starting to play a lot of Tressel ball, and we all hate it. But they went undefeated and then beat the Miami Hurricanes, reigning champs. 31-game winning streak, beat them and ended their dynasty. So that is at 2. And then at 1, obviously you guys all know what it is. It's 2014 Ohio State. They were 14-1 national championships, beat number 1 Alabama. Obviously the Zeke run, it's on the screen now, or it'll be in a second. Then you beat Oregon. You were 14-1, won the Big Ten, won the first ever 4-team playoff bracket, first ever college football playoff national championship. Your only loss was in week 2 to Virginia Tech, who was good, not great. It was a good. That's back when Virginia Tech was good. That's why I'm excited James Franklin can make Virginia Tech good again. But it was a bad loss. You lost your quarterback in the preseason, Braxton Miller. You brought in JT Barrett. He was a freshman, and the first couple games he was rocky. And then you lost Virginia Tech. Got much better after that. Was playing Michigan. Then gets hurt. Cardell comes in. Cardell finishes out, beats Michigan, beats Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship, 59-0. Beats number 1 Alabama. Wins the national championship in a blowout fashion against Oregon. And I think I just got to have that team number 1. And obviously that's Urban. Urban's the best Ohio State coach of all time. I mean, maybe you could say Paul Brown because he basically invented modern football, but I think I'm going to say Urban. And if you're looking at this list and if you're an older guy or an old head, you'd be like, there's a lot of these older teams that I think were really good. And the reason why I actually don't have some of these, I have a couple like 1968, 1998, even 1996 in the honorable mentions. The reason why I don't have them higher or any other like older teams is one thing. The teams from the 70s through 80s, the teams from like the 50s through the 70s, they all get blown out to modern day teams. Once you kind of hit the 80s and 90s, that's when those teams could be comparable to teams today, kind of more in the 90s and after. But honestly, I mean, you hear about Urban talking. The reason why there's not more Tressel teams on here is because Urban said, yeah, after Tressel and then Luke Fickell and I came in, I looked at Ohio State versus the SEC, and it's like, this is not even close. Not even comparable. And so that's why really a lot of the teams on here, I mean, like 2014, 2019, 24, 2015, 22, 25. I mean, half the top 10 are all after Urban because Urban transferred Ohio State into being an SEC team. And now the SEC is gone and the Big Ten's on top with Ryan Day. I mean, really everything after Urban, like Urban and Day, these are the best Ohio State teams of all time. The teams from 2012 to 2026 and after with Ryan Day, these are the best Ohio State teams of all time in the 150-year history. So let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy these great teams. I know it's not the era of, 2019, that was the era of the super team, so I understand why they didn't win the national championship. 2024 is national title. That we're not in the era of the super team anymore. Ohio State was really the last super team. Indiana was not a super team. But yeah, kind of like Urban after, that's when Ohio State was, that's when we got transformed from, just Big Ten, good coaching, not a good enough talent and players, to Urban transferred us into an SEC killer. And that's when we beat Alabama. And so, yeah, that's my list. And that's kind of why all the teams, I'm younger. I know better with the younger teams. I know more of their roster. And I'm just saying, Urban after are the best Ohio State teams. So that's all for my list. Today had my little brothers flag football, did very good. Columbus Aviators lost. I'll talk about it tonight on the live stream. I'll see if I have time. I'm going to try to get it done. Columbus Aviators, I hate that team. I'm going to a game next week. It's not going to be fun. Let me know if you're going to the game next week against Dallas, the Dallas Renegades. Because if you're there and I see you, we'll say hi. Talk it up for a little bit. But again, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please hit the subscribe button and the like button, as that's all I have for you guys. Now, if you want to join the live show, I think I'm going to try to do it tonight. Join in. It'll be fun. We're talking all about Ohio State and all the news happening over the past week. Ted Ginn getting arrested for DUI. We'll talk about that. But that's all I have for you guys today. I will see you guys all tomorrow, or I guess I'll see you guys all later tonight. And as always, thank you.